British culture would slowly seep into the American lifestyle with the introduction of Britpop and the unveiling of the Spice Girls, a group of 5 women with amazing talent. The Spice Girls were everybody's beloved girl band for a very long time, as they released songs that made you feel confident in girlhood with a middle finger to the world. But the group would go from standing against their management team to breaking up because of misplaced passion. This is the story of the rise of the Spice Girls and what eventually led to their breakup. It all started in the late 90s when British music execs saw that British music was not making waves in the United States. The United States was already experiencing a wave of boy bands, which fans were loving, and the British wanted to have a taste of the love. So they started creating their own boy bands, which did pretty well, but not nearly enough. Seeing the success of the boy bands, Bob and Chris Herbert, a father-son duo in charge of Heart Management, decided to start a girl band. They wanted something new, something different, something unconventional. The plan was to get 5 girls with completely different personalities and of different races, so they could appeal to a wider audience. So on March 4, 1994, 400 women auditioned for a part in the Spice Girls. They were placed in a group of 10 and they danced a routine to Stay by Eternal. After different rounds of auditions and rejecting people, 5 women emerged as the members of the group. They were Jerry Halliwell, Victoria Adams, Melanie Brown, Melanie Chisholm, and Michelle Stevenson. The group was initially called Touch, and they were moved into a 3-bedroom house in Berkshire. These were women from different backgrounds who were just happy to be amongst women doing what they liked. The essence of putting them in the same house was to get them acquainted with each other so they could see how well they worked with each other. They spent most of 1994 practicing songs written by Bob Herbert and his associates. Although the songs were aimed at a younger audience, the group never sang them when they made their debut. Some months into their training, Michelle Stevenson was dropped and replaced by Emma Bunton because the management believed she was not committed to the group. By late 1994, the girls had changed their name to Spice Girls after getting the inspiration from writing the songs Sugar and Spice. But changing to a prettier name did not make them feel more secure because despite their effort to prove themselves, they still had not gotten a contract from Heart Management. They also didn't like the direction the team was going, making it obvious that Heart Management just wanted to do something new without really putting any real effort into making things work. The girls were tasked with developing their own dance routines, which they practiced alone. All of that was probably making them rethink their decision. So instead of leaving the group, they convinced Heart Management to set up a showcase performance in front of whoever was whoever in the industry. We are talking industry writers, producers, A&R, the whole bunch. The fact that the girls were the ones suggesting what management should do should have been enough for them to see that the Herberts didn't know what they were doing. The showcase was organized at No Miss Studio in 1994, and the group received so much positive accolades. Seeing how much success the girls could possibly rake in, the Herberts drew up a binding contract and asked them to sign it. It seemed like the Herberts released the gold mine they were sitting on and wanted to enjoy it before they got offers from other management groups. The girls had gotten a contract, which was really all they wanted, but they were advised by Victoria Adams' father to not sign it. Other people were interested in them, and it would have been unfair to themselves if they didn't give it a chance. The Spice Girls started writing songs with Richard Stannard and Matt Rowe as they found them interesting at the showcase. By March 1995, they let Heart Management know that they would not be signing the contract, as it was obvious that they didn't listen to their ideas. Back in 1994, they tried to add rap to one of the songs written by one of the Herberts' partners, who met them with rage and harsh criticisms. The partner claimed that they knew nothing about songwriting and needed to learn properly before doing anything, which led them to starting songwriting sessions. So if they were going to stay in Heart Management, it meant that they were letting go of their autonomy and would have no say in the creative process, which can be frustrating for the artist. The Spice Girls had some songs under Heart Management and asked one of the partners, Tim Hawes, to give them the master tape since they wanted to use it for rehearsals. After securing the master tapes, the girls ran away and Tim never saw them again. Imagine the look of horror on his face when he realized that the Spice Girls had hoodwinked him. But it was the only way to protect their work and their money, so we really can't judge them. Although there could have been better ways to navigate the situation, that's not the point right now. Anyway, the Spice Girls tracked down songwriter Elliot Kennedy and convinced him to work with them. Through the contacts they got at the showcase, they were able to get in touch with the Absolute production team. With the help of Kennedy and the Absolute team, the Spice Girls were able to get back into making music. They spent the next few months working on new music, recording demos, and creating dance routines. Their demos caught Sam Fuller's attention, and he signed them to his management, 19 Entertainment. But he had to pay Heart Management $50,000 because the girls had stolen their master tapes. As they were completely free from Heart Management's control, they could spread their wings. In July 1996, the Spice Girls released their debut single, Wannabe. The music video of the song was aired on the box, and it became an instant hit. The song was aired up to 70 times a week at its peak, and it was the #1 hit in over 30 countries. In January 1997, Wannabe was released in the United States, and the track was received with so much positivity. The charts had been dominated by boy bands, so it was sort of fresh air to see a girl band doing it too, and doing it well. It appears that in the music industry, people love to see women thriving in different genres. When Lil' Kim started rapping, people were relieved to hear a woman's voice, as it felt like a much-needed break from all the violence the men propagated. It was the same reaction people were giving the Spice Girls as they were doing something new with their amazing voices. The song debuted at number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States. At the time, it was the highest ever debut by a non-American act. They beat the previous record, which was held by the Beatles for I Wanna Hold Your Hand. Wannabe by the Spice Girls reached #1 for 4 weeks in a row in the United States, which showed how much international success they were able to garner. In February 1997, they released Spice in the United States, and it became the best-selling album in the United States in '97. The album sold over 7 million copies and was certified platinum 7 times by the RIAA. Worldwide, the album sold 23 million copies, making it the best-selling pop album by an all-female group. All the Spice Girls had was a dream, and they fought to ensure it came to life. They broke into the international market in hopes of increasing their sales, but ended up dominating the charts. The Spice Girls released the first single, Spice Up Your Life, off their second album called Spice World, and the song immediately started topping charts. It entered the UK singles chart at #1, making it the group's 5th consecutive #1 single. In November 1997, they went on to release Spice World, the album, and it broke the record for the fastest-selling album when it sold 7 million copies in 2 weeks. With so many favorable reviews, the album went on to sell 10 million copies across Europe, America, Canada, and 14 million copies combined worldwide. People were listening to and loving the Spice Girls. There was no stopping them or slowing down. Heart Management likely regretted not giving them a chance with their ideas, but what had happened had happened. Due to the success of their Spice World album, the Spice Girls started receiving some major backlash, which was weird. The girls were doing well, so why were people criticizing them? The quality of their music was not the point of criticism, but the fact that they had released an album just 9 months after debuting in the United States, which gave them 2 top 10 albums in the Billboard charts. The girls were also under fire because they were quote-unquote overexposed back home in the UK. This news affected their rankings in the charts, but didn't stop them from selling more copies of their albums. When you hear news like that, you wonder if people have no real-life problems. How do you get angry at a group for doing so well with their music that you criticize them for it? You may roll eyes at what we're about to say next, but nobody cares. If it were to be boy bands dominating the charts the way Spice Girls were doing it, nobody would complain and people would call it breaking records. It would not be a newsworthy topic, but people just like to pick fights with every and anything a woman succeeds at, even with glaring evidence of their hard work. The good thing in everything is that the Spice Girls did not let the negativity get to them and stop them from doing what they wanted. You can criticize them all you want, but that album money was raking in and nothing could stop them. The Spice Girls were also criticized for the number of sponsorship deals they had, which was 20 at the time. So they were making a lot of money, and it seemed like other pop stars and bands did not like it. While the smear campaign made their chart positions decline, they remained the best-selling pop group of 1997 to 1998. By the end of 1997, the Spice Girls released a feature-length film titled Spice World, featuring them. The world premiere was attended by so many celebrities, including the now King Prince Charles and his brothers. The movie was a commercial success, but did not receive positive views in comparison to their songs. It was actually voted the worst movie of all time by their British audience because of the poor writing, acting, and every other thing in between. They made $100 million at the box office, but they had a long way to go in terms of making movies. It appeared that the girls wanted to try something new with the movie, but they failed badly. Prior to the movie's release, the girls sacked their manager, Sam Fuller. Based on the rumors, Fuller was becoming too controlling of the group as they experienced global success, which made him accept deals they really didn't fancy. They wanted more control of their lives, and in true Geri Halliwell style, she stole the phone that contained their schedule and all of Fuller's business contacts. Now, they had no manager, and things were pretty much going their way as they were winning awards and making more money since nothing was going to a manager. The Spice Girls were on tour in 1998, and all of a sudden, one of their members, Geri Halliwell, stopped showing up at concerts and events. She had missed 2 of their Norway shows, and people became worried when she did not show up with the rest of the girls at the national lottery draws. The host of the show asked where she was, and they said she was sick and asked her to get well soon. It turned out that they had been trying to reach Geri for days now, and she wasn't giving them a positive response. She was replying to their calls, and they were trying to ask her to come back, but she kept refusing. Then, on the 31st day of May 1998, Geri announced through her solicitor that she was leaving Spice Girls. Prior to when Geri, also known as Ginger Spice, left a group, it appears that she had told the girls she was going to leave. However, she promised to stay until the end of the tour they were on at the time. She started shedding her Ginger Spice persona by going easy on the dye she was using in her hair and changing her outfits to be less spicy. It was obvious that she was going in a different direction from the group, as she later claimed that she didn't feel in sync with them again. The more she changed her persona, the more her issues with the group grew deeper until she finally left in May, months before the group ended their tour in September. According to her solicitor, Geri had differences with the group, which was why she wanted to leave. The girls tried to bring her back, but she had already made up her mind. The remaining 4 women had to continue without her, which was what things really became hard for the group. These women had been together and fought everyone together for the longest time. They had gone from being strangers to best friends and sisters, so having one of their own leave and telling them she was leaving through a stranger made things hard. Geri Halliwell had left a scar in the group that could not be healed. The Spice Girls continued to create music and release their 3rd album, Forever, in 2000, which was not as successful as their previous albums. 2 months after releasing the album, the group stopped promoting the album and announced an indefinite hiatus. They also announced that they were launching their solo careers, and that could have really been the major motivation for going on a hiatus. Since Geri left the group, things were just different, and there was no way they could continue, and even if the world adjusted, they would always think of her and be reminded of her. So they did an emotional send-off concert for the group and their fans, and that's pretty much where the Spice Girls chapter ended. They started losing money after Geri left the group and had to pay over £1 million to a motorcycle company that had paid them to sponsor a new scooter, which they were going to call the Spice Sonic. Since Geri left the group so abruptly, they had to pay for all the legal troubles that she put them in for leaving without allowing them to let their sponsors know. Due to all the issues they had after, the girls were no longer fond of Geri, who claimed that she felt like she no longer belonged in the group. But there is a more spicy story to their breakup. There was a rumor of Geri Halliwell and Melanie Brown being romantically involved with each other. Nobody had really looked at things from that direction until a social media creator revealed that there was an underground lesbian relationship happening in the group. In their previous performances, Geri and Mel B had been quite close with each other, making flirtatious remarks and being so handsy. Fans never thought much about it, and if they ever did, they likely played it off as just girls being cool with each other. But we hate to break it to you this way, that if you fancy touching other girls and fancy them touching you too, then you might want to have a chat with yourself about your sexuality. Hey, we don't make the rules. Anyway, Mel B has always been open about her sexual fluidity and never hid the fact that she was queer. In a 2019 interview with Piers Morgan, she was asked if she had slept with Geri before.
Did you or didn't you with Geri Halliwell?
Well, what do you consider as doing it or not?
Did you sleep with her?
And she revealed that when they were still fairly new in the game, they had and Geri had a great body. Her comments were met with wildness as people finally confirmed their suspicions about her relationship with Geri. What's more is that Jerry left the group around the time that Mel B got engaged to Jimmy Golzar and was pregnant. Mel B announced her pregnancy during the tour, and when the group broke up, she changed her name to Melanie G. She expressed her displeasure so many times about Jerry leaving the group without telling her, but it is what it is, really. Shortly after Mel B made that comment in 2019, the media turned upside down, trying to stretch it more than she did. Jerry also released a statement saying that the comments hurt her family and marriage. We don't know, Jerry. Maybe don't have sex with girls when it's men you're attracted to? Anyway, Piers Morgan was completely out of line for asking about intimate details of the Spice Girls, and it's a bigger issue that should be addressed about the kind of questions that female celebrities have to answer. The Spice Girls have attempted to reunite, but it just doesn't slap like before. If Jerry Halliwell had not left the group at the peak of their career, do you think they would have had a longer, successful run?